Hey guys, in this video we're going to talk about why relationships end in the Philippines. Stick around. Alright, so Paul, I appreciate you joining me again. It's been quite a while since we've done a video together actually. And
Yes.
yeah, so we're sitting out here on a rainy Sunday night, still here in semi-lockdown. It's not so strict, but
Yeah.
there's some things that are a little bit different, that are a little bit more strict, but yeah. I know I probably have more experience than you. You've been with, your girl for quite a long time, but I figured we could kind of bounce back and forth off each other on what you think as well. And one of the things for me that a lot of Westerners really aren't used to is clingy. And when I say clingy, I don't mean physical clingy, although sometimes that can make people a little nuts after a while. Most people think at first, somebody who's clingy and on you all the time, and
It's kind of cute to start.
It's kind of cute to start with, and it's nice. And I mean, you're thinking, oh wow, a beautiful 25-year-old is hanging on to me, fantastic. But sometimes you do need to get some space, right? You need to get some personal space, and
I found that too. Filipinas, and especially if they really like you, they tend to be very, very clingy.
yeah,
And you as the guy, for me, you have to say something. The worst thing you can do is not say something, then start losing your temper because they're too clingy, and they don't know why you're losing your temper.
right.
And that's what ends up happening. Plus, there's another contributing factor, is that when we live in the West, if you have a live-in partner, you tend to have a bigger apartment or a bigger house. I mean, my house in the West was 3,000 square feet, or roughly 280 square meters for the European people. And here it's probably 40 square meters, or roughly 400 square feet. So there's that too. I mean, it's
with a lot more people in that area.
There's two people in that, or two people in the 3,000. Of course, you're going to get more tired because if you have a bigger house, you have places you can retreat to get your own peace of mind. While in a smaller condo, you don't. So
Right.
I think that contributes to it too.
But even within that, just a small dwelling like that is typically not two people. You're talking 5, 6, 7, up to 10 people. In a
Well, not a Philam couple would be that way.
no, that's true. That's
you're
true.
talking about Filipinos growing up. Yeah. So
Growing
they're
up.
used to it. Yeah, you're
Right,
right.
they're used to
They're
it,
used
yeah.
to that clinginess. We're not.
Right.
We grew up with maybe 3, 4, 5 people in the house.
Right.
Well, they grew up with 10 people in a 40 square meter place, and they're just used to that. We're not.
Yeah, it's not uncommon for 3 of them or 4 of them to be sharing in a bed, or 2 to take a shower together, even with the females. And so that contributes to it. So they just don't realize it, and you kind of have to let them know. Which, for me, a girl who works, again, I go back to girls who work, where when you do see her, you actually appreciate that she's...
Because she's not there all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
It's usually somebody who's not working, and then you need some personal space. But so you have that. You have the physical clingy, and then you also have. They like to use that word clingy here, but it can mean 2 different things: physical, and it can also mean somebody who checks up on you a lot too, right?
Yeah.
Like they use it.
They tend to check up on you much more here than in the West because of several reasons. The first reason is they have so much more competition. You look in the West and you're with a girl and you look around, there's not really much to choose from. Here there's a lot to choose from, and they're going for it. You've been in this situation where you've talked to one girl and she's trying to sabotage you talking with another girl, even though you've been talking to that girl for a long time. They try to sabotage because you're the prize here. You really are the prize here. I'm not talking about him, of course. He's not the prize, but you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Just joke. Joke lang. But yeah, you know what I'm saying, right? So I think that can be very negative for us because we're not used to that. I mean, any girl says to me, I want to see your phone, I say, you ain't going to see my phone. Not because have anything to hide. Because if you do that, you just lost the frame in the relationship. And anytime she wants to see the phone in the future and you deny her, she thinks you're hiding something.
Right.
So I just never show my phone. I just that's not part of a trusting relationship.
I would also say that I'm not saying all of them. Obviously, there's good Filipino marriages, but it's not so uncommon for Filipinos to be unfaithful. And so I think that helps. Not helps, but I think that makes them a bit more worried.
Justifies why they're like that, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
So.
I mean, I understand it completely. I mean, I understand why they're paranoid here. Because there are so many beautiful women. So, yeah, I understand it completely.
And then the other one, which people do have jealousy in the West. However, here in the Philippines, I think probably because of the Latin influence too, but jealousy is huge here. And they can get jealous over silly things.
Yeah.
My ex used to get jealous just when I would go meet the guys for coffee. Like, why aren't you bringing me? Why.
Yeah.
So.
And that's another thing I've talked about, setting the frame and the relationship, why that's so important. Mm-hmm. And if you have a live-in partner, it's hard to you can set the frame, but you always start conceding and it gets difficult. And that's another thing I find, that people are in relationships where they can get away, they can do something with the guys, they can go places where they're not always on top of each other, that they get a break from each other. Because you think about it, in the West, usually the man and the woman are working. So you leave in the morning, you barely see each other. You come home in the evening, and you make food together, watch a movie together or something. So that's 3-4 hours in a day you're together, really. Right? 5 days a week at least. And on the weekend, sometimes the guys, they go fishing, they go hunting, golfing, whatever, and the girls go do whatever they want to do. But here, you're together constantly, I found, and that's kind of expected here too. So for us, it can get, in the beginning, I found it charming actually, but after a while, it can become just completely overwhelming.
Yes. Yeah, and again, I always go back to this, but a girl who works, you don't have that as much. She doesn't. She doesn't have all that idle time to sit around thinking, what is he doing? What is and it can be hard for a lot of Westerners because they come out here and most Filipinas, it's one of two extremes. Either they don't work and they're around you 24/7. Or when they do work, some of them work 6-7 days a week, and they can work 12-hour shifts. So you're stuck then with somebody
that you see once a week.
Right, that you want more time with, but you don't have enough time. So
it's both extremes.
So it's hard. But there are jobs that they do work some normal shifts here. Call centers tend to.
The other thing you got to think about, if you're retired here, is you're retired. Let's say you live in Cebu and you want to go spend a week in Malbo or some other island for a week. She's working. You're going alone.
Yeah.
So that's something to think about too. So it's hard to find a medium. The only thing I would suggest is like encouraging her to have friends, and so she can go out with her friends a few hours a day, or go do some charity work a few hours a day while you have some time alone, maybe.
Something, and that's a later topic that I'll actually discuss about living near friends and family, which I'll discuss on a different day. But
now the other thing that I think causes, I know it causes people to break up. I've seen that in most Phil-am couples, actually, it's the am part that usually tends to break up with the Phil part. Have you noticed that?
Yes. They are quite resilient. Like they will hang onto that relationship through thick and thin.
They do the same with the Filipinos.
And
it's part of their culture, part of their identity.
And that is actually a good thing, I think. They don't just throw in the towel. So.
But I think the reason the am part tends to leave is what we talked about before. It's all this temptation. All these beautiful women putting the moves on you, looking and smiling at you when you're walking down the road. It is hard.
Yeah,
if somebody says, no, I love this woman, it's not hard for me, they're basically lying. You know, it is hard, but you gotta look at the positives of who you're with, and
Right.
you know, sometimes it looks like the grass is so much greener on the other side, and you get to the other side and you figure out it's just a mirage, you know?
Right. Now, for me personally, yeah, okay, and I'm just saying, for example, when I do find the right girl, I probably don't want to live in an environment like Mactan, Newtown, where there's call centers and beautiful women walking by. I probably, honestly, don't want all that temptation around me. I probably want to go live out in the, that's where I start.
Like Valencia Negros.
Like Valencia Negros, or maybe Bohol, or, you know, that's where I start to think. And not only that, I want, at some point I want to live a quieter life, but you're away from all that.
How long is that?
I don't know. I'm still looking.
It could be half a year, or it could be 10 years.
She might have passed by already. I don't know.
She might have. Anyway, so...
Those are some of the main things. I really think, again, the temptation is huge, but I think jealousy can really cause some problems here, because we Westerners just aren't used to that much jealousy.
And cultural differences.
Cultural,
misunderstandings because of culture. Things they expect you to do that you find kind of, different than the West, and maybe you're not willing to do it, or maybe you don't even know you're supposed to do whatever she wants you to do. So she gets the tempo, and that leads to misunderstandings.
Right.
So there's a lot, that can go wrong in the Philam relationship. But then again, there's a lot that goes correct, because Filipinas are very loving, so they'll be very tolerant and patient. They tend to stick with you through thick and thin, unlike in the West.
They do, which I had mentioned on my video of some of the why Filipinas are some of the best girls, which
I think so too, without a doubt.
So you just have to, again, it's hard to find the girl you want a girl who works, but then again, then we complain.
We want to travel, she can't travel.
Yeah, so there are some, again, we'll dive into this topic on a different day, but there are some advantages to a girl living with near her family, where she can kind of get some personal space. But we won't jump into that too much today. Anyway, we've been going for a while, so I appreciate it, Paul. Questions, comments, please comment down below. If you like this video, please consider sharing it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Let's take it real soon.